Do you not have your camera on there, Melissa?
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
What's going on?
I'm coming from my new office.
Oh
My
yeah,
new office, aka my new bed.
you got a
So
new bed.
Ooh.
Lee's on. Lee's on.
Nope, I'm not on. It's not starting.
All
your
right,
beard is huge.
thank you. Um,
Thank you.
what this whole thing?
And you're wearing neon to match your album. This is wow.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. I try to get
Yeah,
the glare off of the album if I can, just so you can see it in all its
have
glory.
Leigh Photoshop it. Have Leigh Photoshop it. She's a
Lee
wizard.
Photoshop Bad Brains into the background. Uh,
Bad brains.
Not that we know who our guest is yet, but
No.
we do have a lot to talk about, needless to say.
Needless to say, we do. Yes, you're correct.
Real quick, we just got back from Nicaragua. We got to
Yeah.
see Doug and
Was it?
Sophie. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, was it so pretty to be in the sun and in the heat?
Yeah. The heat, the sun, the house, Seth and Whitney's house is amazing. We got to see Mark and Vicky, um, hang out with Doug and Sophie. They gave us a little surf lesson.
Oh,
We spent time in Iguana. Aqua is like a really cool little spot. Like we don't surf, so
yeah.
the beach right there. I mean, there's no surf, but like it's a great little beach, and
Yeah.
um, it was
Do
good.
you
We
feel
got
like you feel better? Because I know before you left, you were working a lot and like very burnt out.
I was a little
Maybe
stressed.
not burnt out. That's extreme.
I wasn't burned out, but I was stressed. I'm a little tired, and then
Yeah.
I carried that stress a little bit, but we still had a good time, and it was fun, and it was a
Yeah.
great,
Well, good.
great
The
break.
the sun and being outside and is always awesome for that.
Yeah. We read. Chelsea read two books. I read that Dave Grohl book that we talked about that you read.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good. How did you like it?
I get what you were saying, where you were kind of like, yeah, it was good, but like I really liked the stories. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, just like um where he goes with stuff sometimes in the universe and how he created
You're
it.
like, okay.
I mean, if I was him, I would feel that a little bit just with how many amazing things have happened to him, but he's just
Yeah.
talented and things happen because he's talented. So,
Right, right, right. No, that's true.
but all like the music
Actually, I'd love
stories.
to talk more about the books too.
Yeah,
Leigh is an avid reader too. She always has books on the line.
cool. So I just started 1984, so I'm digging into
Oh,
that one.
whoa,
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah. So far so good.
Okay, I've got a
Um,
book I started that I'm pretty excited about too.
what is it?
Um, Allow me to get it out of my nightstand where I've been spending my evenings relaxing instead of doom scrolling.
Oh, that's
Uh,
good.
yep. So it's called This Will Be Funny Later.
Oh,
And it's based on the life of the daughter of the show Roseanne.
based on the life of the daughter of the show
You
Roseanne.
know the show Roseanne
Yeah.
Barr.
Yeah.
She was wild. So this book is her daughter writing the book, but the show was based on a real life person, right? Roseanne
Oh,
is just a made up character, but the real life person, Roseanne Barr, it's about her daughter.
gotcha.
And it is so far hysterical.
Oh,
And I love it. I sent Lee a picture of one of my favorite parts the other night. I would love to talk about our favorite parts of our books.
all right. So,
But you're in 1984. That's a little different than my vibe.
it is, but I can go to the Dave Grohl book and I'll tell you some
Okay.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, our guest, we created Tea with Lee before we even asked Lee if she wanted to do Tea with
Yeah,
Lee.
we were like, we need tea with
We
Lee.
need Tea with Lee. So then we made it happen on the second or third episode. We had Lee on,
Yeah.
and then we were gonna like make a plan for her to come back reoccurring, but schedules are just crazy and tight.
Well, Leigh is so busy.
Yeah,
Leigh is wanted on all podcasts worldwide. So it's hard
exactly.
for her to schedule.
Exactly. So like once she's out there,
Oh,
it's like getting the toothpaste back in the
back in the tube.
back in the
Yep,
tube. You can't do it. Once it's out, it's like,
it's out.
but
Everybody wants her. Everybody wants her now.
right. So before we hopefully get back some tea with Leigh, because we're gonna even have her just record our little segments, even if we can't meet up on Zoom. It's
Yeah.
built up to where we need a whole teapot of tea. We need like a whole tea with Leigh episode.
So we're welcoming the pot on the pod.
The pot of
Pot
tea.
of Leigh. Pod
Pot of Leigh
on the pod.
on the pod right now. Here's Leigh.
Drum roll.
There she is.
Hello. Did you miss me?
Oh man, is
I
that
like
a
the whole teapot. I like the whole teapot setup, you know? I mean,
pot of tea?
Pot of
a
tea.
lot of tea.
Pot of tea. So
Hot
Okay, you're a little grainy. I'm gonna need you to get off the Wi-Fi on your cell phone.
Oh no. Oh
Oh,
Oh wait,
no.
no,
Don't
there
have
it's better.
that's better.
Yeah,
It's
You're
better.
like
If it gets worse, I can
she can
adjust.
Photoshop it. She can Photoshop it.
you were 36.6, now you're like 56K.
Yeah,
You're almost to
you were like
1999.
big blocks of red and orange, but now you actually have
There you
highlights
go.
in your hair.
It's getting better
Oh,
as it goes. Maybe just needed
okay,
Yeah.
good.
Leigh,
it
what
needed
does it
to
feel like?
it needed to steep a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I had to let it build.
I needed to let the Leigh build. The
Oh
story has
man,
a
I
fan.
heard you guys talking about Dave Grohl, the book.
Did
Oh
you
my
like
gosh,
it? Did you read it?
tell us. Tell us.
So Lenny, my husband, read it. So I like he basically just tells me, but he reads at more
Everything.
audiobooks. He
Oh,
listens to audiobooks like wood chipping, just like absolutely consumes them, insane.
yeah.
And then he'll just tell me kind of like the highlights of different things. But it
Right.
was fun because while he was reading it, weird coincidence, we were up in Ohio and we were driving down this one street and we look over and there's like a bunch of murals and like a sculpture of a guy playing guitar. And we look up and it says Dave Grohl Alley.
Oh wow.
And we were like, what is that? Like that's super random. It turns
Yeah.
out he was born in that town
Oh,
and
Oh, wow.
they named an alley after him and he just like showed up and like played a whole like a little acoustic set in that alley.
oh, that's
What?
cool.
That's
And it
cool.
was yeah, like all like the young people in the town came. I don't know. It's cool. It's like you can be from Ohio and be
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
The
Um,
two things that came to mind reading the book were they put out a documentary called Back and Forth like 10 or something years ago, just like the story of the band. And when I lived in Washington, when I started in construction, we were remodeling the house of the original drummer for Foo Fighters, his parents'
Okay.
house, William Goldsmith's parents' house. And he lived
Wow.
on the property too. So you could hear him drumming like in the basement and stuff. This is right after he had left Foo Fighters. But then in the documentary, Dave Grohl said we all met up at William's parents' house, and we kind of just formed Foo Fighters as a band. And they showed a picture in the documentary of the house that we had remodeled like years, So I'd been at that house and worked on the
That's so
roof.
crazy.
That was crazy. And then the other memory I had was like maybe like 12 or 13 years ago, I was going to look at a job in downtown, or not downtown Seattle, but over by the lake. And I drove down the hill right by Kurt Cobain's house, and there's a little park
Yeah.
there. And I'm like looking at Kurt Cobain's house and thinking about like that time and seeing that image on the news of that house.
Yeah.
As I turn down to the lake to turn, I see a guy walking his dog, and it's the guitarist for Pearl Jam.
No.
It's like
Okay.
it just felt like it hasn't changed that much over time.
Right. It's like
Just-
it,
You're
yeah,
like, funny story. They're still
same
all
old
there.
characters.
they're
Yeah,
all still there.
they're all alive. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
all still alive and actually just there at their mom's.
So
Yeah.
you're telling us, Jake, that you were supposed to be a member of Foo Fighters, but it didn't happen.
It just the timing didn't work out.
The universe
Oh.
kept aligning, and Jake was like, I don't think so.
I
So
don't
I
think
would like to introduce our fourth special guest, Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl. That would be good.
Could you?
Our fourth special guest. Slowly but surely, Leigh just like completely takes over the podcast, bringing guests like actually in her house.
I have Billie Eilish lined up. So could you guys wrap it up?
When you
It'd be
guys are
more
done
likely.
speaking,
Yeah, it'd more likely be like, and with us now is the guitars for Pearl Jam's dog. Just sit in the video.
We have the pets from famous 90s
Right.
grunge bands. Here we go.
Oh man, I did like the book.
here we go.
He did. He kind of like, yeah, all about the universe, and he doesn't know about God, but he knows like the universe kind of made him who he is, sort of. So that part's kind of
Yeah.
funny. But he does have like just cool stories about being in situations like even young before Nirvana where cool stuff happened to him and he interacted
Yeah.
with a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
So
Oh, very cool. It was, I mean, it's like a fun, I mean, I feel like every couple of generations we say that. We're like, oh, music wasn't like it was, in the 70s or, but in the 90s in that like genre of music, it was crazy cool. And there was like a ton of crazy stories and bands that came out of it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Actually, tell Jake your story about that band that you and Elena were obsessed with, and you went there and like saw them. I feel like that you and it was the bluegrass band.
Oh, this is
No,
not,
it's-
this is
It's
90s
not
grunge.
okay. Yeah, it's not like who Leigh is now, but
This is not 90s
but
grunge.
it wasn't 90s grunge. So
Right.
you don't even have to say who it was.
Oh no,
But
I
I
will.
think
It's
that story
so
is so funny.
yeah, it is funny. So basically, so my dad and my whole dad's side of the family are bluegrass musicians. So
Oh.
growing up, it was like at every family event, didn't matter if it was a tragedy or just like a family reunion, everyone would play music. And the bluegrass I love, but it's not obviously my only and favorite genre. I like different things. So growing up, there was a band called Nickel Creek. I don't know if anyone remembers
Oh
them.
yeah, I remember Nickel Creek.
Right? Yeah.
Well, you're about to
So when you're
hear
about,
some stuff.
as a teenager, was obsessed with them and went to like 25 shows and was always
Oh.
like front
No,
row.
they were literally like die hard.
Yeah, we were diehard. I mean, obviously a lot of those shows were in festivals, so there was like other bands like in those festivals, but it got so crazy that the band started to like recognize us. And of course, like, like these clean cut, happy looking kids, it's like, oh, what are, what's your deal? So like one time the band was like, come to dinner with us, come hang out after the show. And it just like, I just completely like froze. I was just like all of my dreams are coming true. But we did.
Fangirling.
We did. And it was literally just the most boring dinner, but I was completely
that's
like,
funny.
I completely went opposite of my personality, which what like, I love to chat people up and talk. I just went comatose and I was just like, I can't believe this is, I fangirled the whole time. We just went to like a diner somewhere in like Southern Virginia. I can't even remember where. And that was it. That was literally it. They're like,
Well,
wow,
that's a
they're
cool story.
boring.
That's fun. I just remembered another one. I was obsessed with a band. Well, one of the groups I really liked was Cypress Hill.
Oh yeah.
Group. And I was at a Cypress Hill show. It was like when Wyclef left the Fugees and he did the All Stars, the Carnival.
Yeah, okay.
Public Enemy and Black Eyed Peas. But I'm in Seattle and I'm in line to meet Cypress Hill. And the guy from Cypress Hill is walking down the aisle with the bassist for Nirvana, Chris Novoselic.
Okay.
And I'm at a rap show. So nobody knows who he is. So the guy from Nirvana is walking unrecognized by anyone because they're all rap guys. So I was like 15 and I went up to him and I was all kind of like nervous. And he talked to me for like 5 minutes and was the nicest guy in the world. Like,
Really?
absolutely sweet. So that was pretty cool
That's cool.
to have.
I love it when you're at some sort of musical thing where in another setting, that person would be like the headliner, the main celebrity. I have another story that was kind of weird. So do you know My Morning Jacket, the band?
Huh? Yeah.
Okay.
Like them.
So the lead singer of that band is Jim James, and a few of our friends, it's like their favorite band of all time. And we just saw randomly that he was going to be playing with a little band traveling through West Virginia. They were doing like a, oh, what's that called? Just like a fundraising event for some sort of like West Virginia forestry or something like that. So we were like, this might be a joke. I don't know if he's really going to be there. Like, yeah, is this for real? Like, we had paid crazy amount of money for tickets and like drove to Louisville, Kentucky one time to see them because that's their hometown. And we waited like all day in line to get like really close to the front. And it was like 10,000 people. It was something insane.
Oh, wow.
We're like, this can't be for real. So we decided to get tickets and we go to this in the middle of West Virginia, nowhere town. It's down near Pocahontas, Melissa. And so it's just like in the mountains. And there was like 4 of us and we walk in and it's this beautiful old opera house, but they've like turned it into a music venue / like community center. But we walk in and it's just like it's almost like everyone was just like putting potato salad on a table. And we're like, are we in the right place? And they're like, oh, come on in, sit wherever you want. And I'm like, is Jim James going to be playing tonight? They're like, absolutely. And we're like, we walk right up front, get seats.
Get used to some sweet tea, honey.
Literally, I
He's
hear this
about
guy
to start plucking.
I hear this guy be like, oh, Michael, we're out of ice. You better run back to. And I'm like, this is not real. Well, eventually then the whole place gets packed and they come out on stage. Jim James is in like a burgundy velour suit with like a giant sunflower. He just looks incredible.
Oh my gosh.
And he plays like 20 My Morning Jacket songs. I've just never been to a concert like that in my life, but same situation.
Yeah.
Where you see like Nirvana guy and like another, and like no one knows who he is, and you're just like, this is crazy.
We were at a club to see. We had a Zebrahead concert, which is a very 90s thing to say. We were at a Zebrahead concert.
What's Zebrahead mean?
I don't know. Do you remember Zebrahead? They were like a punk.
I don't know them at all.
Do you mean the gum, the zebra gum?
Yeah. So we're at a Zebrahead concert, and the lead singer to the Deftones is standing in the crowd.
Oh, you know, just as he does.
And
yeah.
And he's got a side band called Team Sleep, and they were playing the same club the next night. So he's just like watching Zebrahead, and I go up to him and I said hi, and he wasn't totally with it, but he was really nice. And then as we're leaving the show afterwards, I see the bass or the drummer for Deftones, and I start talking to him for a minute, and he's like, "Yeah, we're my band's opening for Chino's side band." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." He's like, "Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Maybe I have to work, but yeah, sure."
I'll
He's like, "Well, do you want to go?"
Yes, the
He's
answer
like,
is
"Do you want to
yes.
go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so he writes my name down. He's like, "Do you want to bring someone?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Shut up.
So we put a +1. And so the next night I saw like me and my cousin Travis went and saw the first Team Sleep tour
That's
in
crazy.
Seattle.
That's so cool.
And the
Travis.
one was David Grohl. That's how
so me and Dave,
my cousin Travis is David Grohl.
I had some notes. I had some notes for the new Foo Fighters record. So I was like, let's go out.
And so this is where you let us know that you actually are the manager of the Foo Fighters.
And that's
all come full circle now.
And that's when we wrote the album There's Nothing Left to Lose.
Crazy.
That's awesome. I didn't hear that story yet. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So the book that Melissa's reading, you sent to Leigh. What was the?
Well, I sent her. I got to plug in this laptop. You know I do.
Oh, yeah.
She sent me a screenshot of a page, so I don't really know as much as maybe she's saying. But
okay, but Leigh, you heard me saying like the premise is that it's Roseanne Barr's daughter.
Can I ask,
is it
actually the actress, or is it the people that the show is based off of?
So the show is based off of a woman and her real life.
And so it's the real life people.
And so, yeah, this is about the daughter of the real life people.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
yeah. And actually, because I think she even says, like, in the intro, she's like, out, hold on, let me just get it for a second before I say something wrong and get canceled immediately.
Also, how old is this book? I want to know.
Okay, let's see. It came out in, let me look at the front. It's like 1926.
Everything needs to be redacted.
I love when people use the word redacted. It's so great. Everything must be redacted. It says copyright 2022.
Okay, so new.
Yeah.
So it's like she's been like, she's like, I gotta get this story out. Roseanne wrecked my life.
Right. Yes. Okay, yeah. So the front says, growing up, Jenny Pentland, who is the author, Jenny Pentland's life was a literal sitcom. Many of the storylines for her mother's smash hit series Roseanne were drawn from Pentland's early family life in working class Denver.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's how it starts.
Yeah.
But what I
No,
sent,
that would be a mind trip for your mom to have like a hit show and that you're like a character is based off of you. Imagine if you were Urkel and your dad was like, I wrote you into this show.
oh my God.
And and you're like, I'm Eddie, right? And they're like, no, you're Urkel.
We're Urkel.
You're Urkel. Yeah. You're like, I'm totally Eddie though. It's like, no, you're Urkel.
You need to pin that for our next pod with Leigh is going to be fully based on TGIF.
Okay, we were just talking about TGIF.
Oh, do not get me started.
I could do a whole
rant.
I could do a whole episode on how annoying Laura was in
Laura.
100%. You know it's truly.
Could not stand her.
No, I couldn't stand Laura either.
Yeah, she was annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, but the part of this book that I sent Leigh that I thought was so, well, there was quite a few parts. You know what? I'll do the shortened one that I didn't send Leigh, so it'll be a surprise. My favorite part in the book, so Leigh already knows because of that one section I sent you, that this girl in the book, Jenny, the one writing it, she was born to be a mother. That's what she talks about in the beginning. Since the moment she was conceived, she wanted to have children. And it was in the day and age where it was looked down upon. Like you needed to be a woman that was like a lawyer or an engineer. And like she would like go to get a pick up somebody's baby just to be nice because it was crying. And her mom and aunt would be like, you don't have to do that, you know. You don't have to do that, you know, you don't need to be the mom. Basically, like her mom was like against all of this, right? Even though she was having tons of kids. It was in that women's lib age.
Okay.
So, but she's like, but I wanted to be a mom. I always wanted to be a mom. I had a soft spot from being a mom. And so she gets these baby dolls. And this is the part that made me laugh so hard the other night. I was like crying in bed. She's like, I would take a little knife and I would slice their face open right where the mouth was.
Why?
And she's like, and I would want to feed them like they were a real baby.
Oh,
but
they wanted them to feel okay. I gotcha.
Yeah.
That could have gone dark. It didn't. Okay.
Right. Oh, I was concerned.
Okay.
So she says, I was surrounded by baby dolls that I was trying to feed and keep alive and take care of. And so I would open their little mouths and pinch their cheeks to feed them applesauce. Most of my baby dolls' heads were filled with moldy food.
Oh my God. That's so gross.
Can you imagine walking into your daughter's room and you're like, what stinks?
Yeah, what's that smell?
And you're being like, I don't know, Mom, my moldy baby doll.
I guess it's my moldy doll's heads. I laughed so hard at this visual of just squeezing, because she was like, it was before, you know, Leigh, how we talked about before, like, and I'm sure Chelsea remembers this too. You get a baby doll, but it's like would have like a special skill. Like one of the baby dolls that she talks about was one that would be put to bed and it would be like, Mommy, give me my kisses. Mommy, I'm tired. Leigh,
this podcast is nightmare
canceled.
Yeah.
Right. You have different baby dolls that had like different occupations, which was super weird for a baby.
It was very weird.
Like, you know what I mean?
Any of those? No, she No, Chelsea says she didn't have any of those.
Chelsea was probably actually more of like Jenny, who had a
Yeah.
baby with like no hair, and she was trying to treat it for alopecia. That would be more Chelsea's vibe. Like
Oh my gosh, I love
rescuing,
it.
You got a good
rescuing a
LOL
baby
at Chelsea
doll.
in that one.
Yeah, rescuing a baby doll, putting lotion on it.
I will say, you know what baby doll I wanted so bad growing up?
Oh,
And I
what?
don't know if you guys saw advertisements for this, but it was like the first one that you're like, feed your baby. And you would feed them like this little carrot stick and it would be like nom 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 and it would eat it.
No.
And it was, I'm sure it was like $4,000 back then. I was like, please let me get it, please. And my parents were like, no way. Like, we're not gonna spend that much money on it. Well, apparently my like babysitter's daughter or something got one for Christmas or something. And they were recalled later because it would get the kid's hair would get stuck in the mechanics of the baby doll. So these kids had like bald patches on the side of their head, and you knew immediately they got that doll for Christmas. It was
I love that story.
I know.
You knew your friends had that doll because they were bald on one side.
They were bald on one side. Oh my gosh. So speaking of books too, so Lenny found this thing. I think he told you, Melissa, but we'll tell Jake and see if we'll see if you think this is creepy or if you think this is like okay. Lenny found there's like this app, or maybe it's just like a podcast type thing that it's like adult bedtime stories. So they essentially take like a popular book and then they'll kind of read it to you in a soothing way for you to go to sleep. So like he's like obsessed with it. It's like, oh, it lulls me to sleep. I love it. But at the same time, he's like invested in the books. So
and missing half the chapters, so he has to rewind.
Yeah. So he listened to Alice in Wonderland, which he has never read. He listened to The Time Machine. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
And then now, guess what he's on, Melissa? You're gonna die. Little Women. He has never read Little Women.
Stop.
And he's like,
he's gonna be so invested.
So he's like, wait a second. Who's Lori? Hold on. Who's Amy? And I'm just like, wow.
You're like,
wait, explain it to me a little bit more. It's like adult, like
basically
it's like a guy reading it in a really soft way.
Or women or whatever. It's like the concept of like when we were kids, someone read us a bedtime story and that like put us to sleep, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's like audio books, but they have a little bit of music and they're read to you kind of more soothing, like, and not so, I don't know, like sometimes audiobooks are a little like,
is it kind of like a Cliff Notes version of the whole story, or is it just the actual book just read?
I believe it's the whole book. But you know what? I had that thought, Jake, and I meant to ask him the other day because I was like, that would be really long.
Because what if it was like a guy who read Little Women and then was trying to explain it to another guy, and he's just
my God,
so you're talking about the patriarchy. Got it.
Yeah, it's like so these broads, right? There's like a bunch of them, and they're all little, and then he's like,
all these like little women,
all these little women, right?
Oh my God. Also, Leigh and I both laughed whenever because Darren loves to read Jane Austen. And he went through a stint like when we lived in our old house where especially during COVID, where he would get in the bath and read Jane Austen. And it would be like 2-hour long bath. I'm like, what are you doing in there?
When he came out of the bath, did he talk like British?
Yeah. Amy, it's always been you. I've always loved you. I'm like, I'm not Amy again.
They're like, once more. Your name is.
I feel like I'm gonna have to ask Darren if I should cut that or not.
Well,
Seth, leave it in, Jake. You better.
Yeah, you better leave it in.
All right.
Seth always made fun of him because Seth was always like, I just want to hear Darren tell us about it. And now
what the story is.
Yeah, how hysterical would it be if Jake had Darren on? Like, because now they're doing their once a month pod. Darren, Jake. And it's called Are You Taking Care of Yourself? And I know, shout out new pod, but it's just once a month. But you should have Lenny on and you guys should talk about Jane Austen.
Oh, I don't know.
Or actually, Little Women isn't Jane Austen. Yeah, Little Women isn't Jane Austen, but Darren knows everything he needs to know about Little Women. I would love to hear Lenny and Darren tell Jake about a book.
Here's how I feel like that would go. Darren and Lenny half crying, explaining a Jane Austen book, while me and Sean just sit there like confused, like, what?
Wait,
Mm,
what?
What
But
just
but
happened?
Lenny and Darren know exactly. They're just like, I feel you. I feel you.
I understand. It's so
So,
funny.
Leigh, what is
Yo.
one of your favorite books that you've read in the last 2 years?
Ooh, well, I feel like I read a lot, but I read a lot like lately I've read like a ton of mental health books. I've just been reading like a ton of that genre. But when I go on vacation, I want to read fiction. I want to read, like
She
that
likes romantic teenage novels.
oh, because they keep it clean and it's simple and it's not too deep. You know what I mean?
Nothing
Mhm.
filthy, just
Mhm.
clean,
Just
wholesome love
clean.
stories.
Right. Where Lenny likes to read like complex. He wants like, everyone to be dying by the end or something. That's Lenny's.
Yeah,
Like Lenny wants it
yeah.
to be tragedy. And I'm like, no, I
Lenny
haven't
Lenny likes the treachery. We know
the
this. He
I
likes
treachery.
do.
We know,
I
we know.
am the same with that. Like, I like
Yeah.
either, if it's not nonfiction, if it's just a fiction book, it needs to be like kind of
wild.
wild, a little rough.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
like a not depressing, I guess, but like dramatic or drama or
Yeah. You want drama. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I think I mean, I am drawn to this too, but I think like Lenny loves authenticity. He loves when people are
Struggling.
you get to see a real side of somebody's life, even if it's so not pretty and, depressing and horrible. He loves that type of stuff. I do too. But at the same time, I'm like, I didn't really want to watch this on a Saturday night, or listen to anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to think though of what I've read that's like fiction that I kind of like fell in well in the last couple of years I read it because the movie was coming out, but Where the Crawdads
Oh
Sing
yeah,
yeah.
read, and
yeah,
I loved how they painted that world because I have no experience with living in a swampy area, you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And to
yeah,
read someone that literally like lives so deep inside
yeah.
that area was so fascinating. I loved that.
Hmm.
Was now Peanut Butter Falcon. I know that's a movie, but was that
That's a
based
movie.
swampy place? I
Yes,
can't
that
remember.
was yeah, it's the same type of thing. It was like
Okay, yeah.
a lot or
Was that
Which
yeah,
the
we
Shia
love
La-
that movie.
was that the
Lenny
Shia
and Lee.
LaBeouf movie?
Yeah.
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 Lenny and Lee and us. We love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Peanut Butter Falcon.
How does
Shia LaBeouf be on the pod.
I think, yeah, Shia is coming up soon. I think Chelsea, did you read Crawdad movie?
Yeah.
The book? She said the book was a lot more like explained a lot more than the
I
movie.
hate to be that person,
Oh
but
yeah.
yes.
Oh
I
yeah.
hate to be that person, but it absolutely is so much better.
Oh
It
yeah.
was just
I agree.
more I think especially because technically the movie's like a crime, like a true crime movie. So to kind of listen to what's going in the side the person's head type thing a little bit, or I don't know if it was written that way, but
I know what you're
basically you
talking
get
about.
a
Yeah.
lot more details. You got a lot more details.
The first
Yeah.
time I
Um,
read a book, and the first time I read a book and then watched the movie, I was so disappointed in the movie because the book explained some. I was like, you don't understand this part. You don't know why they're doing this. Do I watch the movie or do I just read the books? And I chose movies because they're easier.
yeah,
Like the book, I was like, okay, I can handle the book. Like I liked, like
yeah,
you were saying, details about the place.
yeah,
But the movie, the way when I know that the girl was supposed to be naive and all those things, but they made
yeah.
her so much more unintelligent in the movie. I literally was like, this is hard to watch.
I think because in the book they pushed that was the perception of her, but that wasn't the truth of her. So
Okay.
I think
Okay.
they really pushed that. Like, I want you to almost think, is she dumb? And I'm like, I wish they wouldn't have done it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see what
Um,
you're saying.
Another book to movie that was a disappointment. One of Lenny's favorite books is the boys in the boat, or
Oh yeah.
anyway, the
Shoot.
boys in the boat, but George Clooney just made the movie, and
Oh,
I don't think it was very good.
not good.
Lenny
Oh,
was a little disappointed. I think he was like, mwah, mwah. I think the same
oh,
thing that you're saying, Jake, is like, you're like, oh, they missed that part, and oh, they didn't put that.
Right.
Me and Devin or me, Chelsea and Devin were just talking about that movie because they went and saw it. The one University of Washington row team, right?
Yes, it's like, yeah, and
Oh,
the book apparently is incredible, and the actors in it are amazing. The main actor, Melissa, like you love that guy.
yeah.
Love that. He's great.
Shoot, I'm trying to look it up now.
Yeah, just look up The Boys in the Boat and the main actor will pop up. Um, but yeah, I think also if it's one of your favorite books, you build up the anticipation and then it's like, meh,
Yeah.
meh. But I
Oh
think
yeah.
that like the main guy was really poor and he had to really like do a lot of crazy things to get where he got. And I think that maybe they didn't just convey it right. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Well, that's disappointing, but maybe we should just all read. We should. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Caleb Turner. Hello.
I'll tell you a movie I really want to see, Jake, that I just saw the preview for. Have you seen the preview for The Zone of Interest?
Zone of
Oh
interest.
my goodness.
So it's literally, and again, I'm contradicting myself, everyone, podcast listeners. I don't really love depressing books, but I don't mind a depressing movie. I'm not,
Mm.
I'm a real big history buff and I'm a real big World War II buff and
Oh, I
anything.
love. No, I don't want to say I love World War II,
No, I know. I just mean like I
but I
like the
do.
history. I
Yeah,
like the
Yeah.
storyline and
Yeah.
it's just fascinating about like
yeah.
everything. So anyway, so this movie is about the family that is like the commander of Auschwitz. And
Oh wow.
essentially, the entire movie is filmed on the other side of the wall where his
Oh.
family lives in a really bougie house in this beautiful yard with a pool and a garden. And the whole movie is like you just see his family living their life. And you see like plumes of smoke in the background, and you might hear
Mm.
some
Yeah.
concentration camp sound,
Interesting.
which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
wild. But the whole point of the movie is you don't see anything that happens in the camp. You only see that family.
Gotcha.
That's great. That's a mind
Interesting.
twist.
Came out at Telluride, and I think it has 6 Oscar nominations, I think.
Wow.
But I'm really interested to see how, and I think it's if you're going to see some sort, if you're going to think you're going to see something like related to a concentrate, you're not really. That's the thing, is it's more so focused on that family. I watched a little clip of the director talking about it, is because we paint them as these monsters, which I mean they are, but and
Yeah.
that's not how it started. They were just a boyfriend and girlfriend that wanted a family and they got married, and then he's climbing the ranks at his job and all of these things, and they want a good life and they want to support their kids and all these things, but turning a blind eye to the
Mm,
horrendous things happening just over the wall, And it's
interesting.
supposed to be kind of a metaphor for what's happening now in life. Like, I think it's a piece of art that he's trying
Yeah.
to say, is this like, do you
Yeah.
feel like this could be around you?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, okay. That's cool.
because it was funny. So I remember the last time that we did tours at the Holocaust Museum, which you would think would be like this super depressing thing, but it actually turned out it was such a wonderful, amazing experience. But their
Uh-huh.
exhibit at the time was, oh, I'm gonna forget it, but it was basically like they had all these photos of the people behind like the concentration camp members being taken away. So it was like observers behind. So they
Oh,
would
okay.
be like families hanging out their window, like watching people get pushed into wagons and things like that. So it was essentially, it was called something bystander. So it was
Mhm.
basically like it was an art piece at the museum saying, are you just a bystander? Like, could you have
Oh,
stood up and said, this isn't right, I don't
okay.
support this, but everyone was so afraid and they just went along with whatever.
Yeah.
But it made me think, when I saw the preview for this movie, it made me think of the connection between the two art installations. Or like,
That's interesting.
I was gonna switch subjects because I watched a movie that I like too.
oh, tell us.
Yeah.
It was a documentary about. Remember when they did "We Are the World" in the '80s?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there's a movie on Netflix right now. Um, Lionel Richie tells the story of putting that together. They only had
Oh,
like They only had
Oh,
one night to do that because how are you going to get like all those people in the same room?
How many celebrities was it, Jake?
It was like 40. So
Oh, woo.
it was like
wow.
it was like Michael Jackson, Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen, Paul Simon, Billy Joel, Smokey Robinson, like all these Cyndi Lauper and like all these people. The only time they could do
Yeah.
it right after the American Music Awards. So Lionel
Oh,
Richie set it up. Lionel Richie hosted the American Music Awards, won 6 American Music Awards that night, and then got all these people to go to a studio at like 11 o'clock at night, and they were there till like 6 in the morning,
no way.
creating, like doing that song and talking about all the difficulties with trying to record up that song, how many like egos were in the room.
Wow.
And they filmed everything. So
Yeah.
it's just like the story of that night. And it was like really good. I
I
would
want to watch
recommend it to
that. That's
anyone
interesting.
that likes music. It's like a really cool documentary about like the mid 80s and those
Yeah.
artists and how
I
like
love Lionel Richie. I just love him. I do.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I always liked him, but like after this, you like him more because he's very
Yeah.
like
Oh,
he's very like funny. He's like very like sweet. Um, it's just a really good documentary. So
Yeah.
it's like, can you like Lionel Richie more? Can we?
Like, can
can
you?
you?
Can you?
I didn't know you could, but you can. You can like Lionel Richie more than you thought.
Okay. Wow. This is incredible.
Yeah. So
Oh,
so
love it.
that's my recommendation.
I'm
Um,
gonna watch that, and I definitely want to watch that interview that you were talking about, Leigh, with the director, so I can fully understand that other movie if
I
I did.
know. I honestly wonder if it's like it's gonna be a little bit more artsy than, just like you're not gonna walk away feeling like that was a good movie. I think you're gonna walk away
Right.
feeling more like you just walked through a museum a little bit, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
you love that, Melissa. You love that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I want that for sure. I
Are
want
you
that.
a museum guy, Jake? Do you like to go?
yes, we do like
Okay.
museums.
Okay.
We went, was the last one we went to was Salvador Dali Museum in
Oh,
Florida. That was really cool.
It's
A bunch
cool.
of his original art.
okay.
But no, we
Well,
like going to like the Met. And a fun fact for people, you can go to your library and usually get passes to museums for free
oh,
that you would normally have to pay for. So keep that in mind if you
oh,
want to go to a museum, you don't want to pay like whatever the cost is. If you have a
Library.
library card, you can get passes to museums.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
what?
So we're close to DC, and
Yeah.
like most of those museums are free, but some aren't. And
Oh,
so it's
cool.
like sometimes you want to be like, hey,
Yeah.
Yeah.
In New York, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's suggested or what, but it is like kind of
oh, like
pricey
give me a
or
little
yeah.
okay, I gotcha.
Chelsea
Mhm.
went to the Guggenheim through a pass through the library.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm
Cool.
gonna remember that because that's really
Yeah.
smart.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Renwick is one of the galleries that's in DC that I think has some of the coolest installations. And I haven't been back there in, well, since before COVID, I guess.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But I love, love, love that installation by, is it Fleva? The one that has the light coming through the whole building, hitting the chandelier and going back down.
Hmm.
I'd have to
Oh,
look at it
so
again,
the
but
Renwick, it's not there anymore. It's like super
that
Yeah,
was the
that
last time
oh,
I
that one
went.
you really like? Yeah, that one's gone.
Yeah,
that one's gone.
that's
I
how
know.
long
I don't know
ago.
why am I what I was about to say is it's small. Like the
Yeah,
it's a small place. So I like that.
yeah,
So it's like when an artist comes in, it's like they take up the whole
yes,
room, which is really cool.
Hmm.
But you're
yeah,
right, their exhibits are fast. So
yeah.
I remember when you guys went to see that, I was like, I want to go, and then it was like gone. I'm like,
It was so
oh.
cool. Yeah, I haven't been to a museum in a while. That's why, like, well, with COVID, like you were saying, I feel like we had to like watch almost like if you wanted a museum type experience, you had to watch a movie
Yeah.
or read a book or buy a book about art or whatever. So I like that movie that you were saying that you were talking about and like the documentary you were talking about or like the Lionel Richie movie. Just because it is kind of like museum, it's the
Yeah.
same vibe.
Hmm.
I think it's cool like how much with documentaries, it's crazy how much they filmed like in
Yeah.
these like if you watch like the Beatles ones when they're in the studio, or the Rolling
Yeah.
Stones, or
Oh yeah.
this one, it's like they filmed a ton of stuff like all the time.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you think of it as like more of a current thing because everyone has a camera on their phone, but
Mhm.
there was a lot of people filming a lot of stuff all the
Back
time.
then.
Yeah, that's true. Okay,
Yeah.
well, we better get to our songs.
Before we get to our songs, real quick, I got distracted when we were talking about quotes from books, because do you ever like read a quote in a book and think you're gonna like drop it on someone in conversation? Like when they're acting a certain way, you could be like, oh, so blah blah blah.
I do that all the time. I literally
Yeah.
I save to a note in my phone. I'm like, I'm gonna drop that on somebody.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I love that response, and then I forget.
So I
Yeah.
know. So I was trying to find this one quote, and it was from Virginia Woolf's book, the one I read, the To the Lighthouse.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's so brave a man in thought should be so timid in life. And I was just imagining listening to someone talking at like a dinner party, and then you just like drop it on them, and you sound so
So
smart.
brave a man, and they're just like, wow,
So
that
brave
really
a
got
man, but so
me.
timid in life, and makes you sound super smart, but it's just from a book.
Also, I feel kind of like it's an 1800s like
I
gentleman,
know. And you have to be like a woman
Yeah,
with
yeah.
a accent to like pull it off.
Oh
Some
yeah.
some
right? I'm
guys
like,
being all
wow.
vulnerable. Some guys being all vulnerable, and you're like, oh, so brave a man, but so timid in life.
Oh, burn,
And
Jake,
just
burn.
burn them hard.
You guys follow that guy on Instagram? It's called Be a Man. And it's just like
Yeah.
it's just this Boston guy. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I
It's
don't.
so stupid, but I came
It's
across
stupid.
that the other day.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Uh,
But it made me laugh so stinking hard. Just his
Excuse me?
stupid accent. Like just the stupidest sentences I've ever
Yeah.
heard. And I was cracking up. I was like, is this what my humor has come to? It's like this stupid
It's
guy.
gotten
Okay,
so lowbrow.
here's
So
a
lowbrow.
question. So when you are, if you are on your phone, so if it's like social media or whatever, what's something that it's like if you're scrolling that you're like, I have to stop and watch this.
Uh,
Like it's
Engineering
Oh
videos, like
God.
it'll be like how it's
Wait,
made type videos.
oh, shut up. I
What
was
is
It'll
it?
about to say, I said mine right now is how potato chips are made.
oh, it'll be
No way. But you
it'll be
said
like a video of like a bunch of guys in Indonesia making like plastic lawn chairs or
yes.
something, and you're just like watching them. It's like I'll watch that all day long, or like just
And I
anything
can't
that's like,
scroll past it. If it's
yeah,
like how
no,
this is made, I'm like, I'm gonna
yeah,
watch this for 15 minutes.
how it's
What is
made videos will distract me.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
What? Well, you're
So
so
you're
much.
watching chairs. Lee's watching chips.
Well, and I think like one the
Yeah.
other day was like how Oreos are made or how and then the
Yeah.
other it's like how canoes are made and it's like shows you in the factory how they're doing it and
Yeah.
it's like mind blowing.
That's
I watched one the
crazy.
other day that was like how they make tennis balls, and it's like them rolling out the rubber and then making the halves, and then after they make the halves, how they glue them together, and then how they do the felt, and then they have
Oh,
it's
we
just
want
like
that.
that kind of
I
stuff.
want that. I
I
want to
want
watch that
Yeah,
that.
right now.
I'll
I
find
can
it and
feel
I'll
the
send it.
stress in my body leaving.
Yeah,
Yeah, I want to see that right away.
It's
that
just so
one.
fascinating.
Yeah, or one was like how matches are made, and it's just how they like strip the wood down, and then they put it through this process, and it gets down these little things, and then it dips it.
Oh, it's so
It's like
cool.
that kind of stuff will just, yeah, I'll waste a good couple
It
hours.
is so
Good.
fat. The
Oh, yeah.
potato chip one, they literally have this ginormous potato peeler where they just like chuck thousands of potatoes in it and it goes in the circular motion and it peels all of them at the same time. But never in a
Awesome.
million years did I think in my brain that that's what was happening in a factory.
I thought
Mm.
they had like somebody just micro chopping for days.
Or like I'll see a video of like how chain link fences are made, or how like chains are made, and it's just like I'll
What?
just watch it or how
I've never
springs are
even
made.
thought of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Well,
can
I
watch it
what's
all on
cool
Instagram.
about the metal ones, Jake, is that like those machines are like
Yeah.
I don't know the way you're right, the way they bend those pieces, like again, it's like
Yeah.
so soothing in my
Or I
brain.
saw one.
Okay.
I saw one. It was all these apples going through a conveyor, and they had these little fingers on it and a laser, and it could tell if it was a red or a green apple. So it would like all these red apples are flying through, but every once in a while there's a green one, and it hits the green one and puts it into something else.
Okay,
like,
I need
oh,
to see
yeah,
that
that's
oh,
a good
That
one.
is so
I'll find that one
cool.
for you.
okay, I know
Well,
what mine is. I know what
oh,
mine is
okay.
real quick. I didn't realize what it was. I was like, I know I have one, but what is it? It's the ones about that, it's that noise. It's like, hey ho, hey ho. And the men that are in the oil rigs in the ocean.
Oh yeah.
So
I
is it the
lose
song that
my
makes you
mind.
pause, or is it just like it's what is that called? The deep water fishing boats?
It's the ones where they're on an oil rig in the middle of an ocean.
Oh, they're on an oil rig. Okay.
Yeah,
And
and there's
that song
waves.
that's like
But
Oh
that's
huge.
yeah.
yeah, they keep putting that song to it. And so it'll be like
Yeah.
all of these men in the middle of the ocean. And you can see behind them like these huge, huge waves.
Huge waves.
And
Yeah.
the guy is just diving in
Yeah.
with like this a welder into the ocean.
Oh yeah, I have seen that one.
Oh
What
my
fascinates you about it?
God.
Just that they're isolated or that
Oh my God, every single piece of it is so
It's like a
dark.
guy welding and waves going
The
over it.
wave is just
yeah.
overtaking him, and he's
Which
just like
this
this
And
makes me
he's
laugh
not
because it's
on the rig, he's under the rig, like a
under the
level
rig.
under a
below.
rig. The danger
The
is
danger.
unparalleled. I know. Okay, I'm gonna just look up oil rig. Dude,
Oil rig.
these get me every time. I can't get
Really?
over it. Oh my
So
God.
sometimes the ones I look at are like the big ships that are really out there, and it's like the
Yeah,
waves are literally
It's
crashing up against the glass.
yeah.
Like that
it's
gets me.
these guys. It's these guys. Hold on. You gotta just hold on. It's this one specifically that makes me unhinged. Are you ready to work for $1,000 a day on
Oh
an
yeah, that one's a good one.
okay? He's
I don't know
covered
if I've ever seen this.
in
Yeah.
mud. This guy just goes
Jumping in
right
the
down
water
in
between a
between two boats.
yeah,
Yeah.
welding
Underwater
underneath.
Welding.
welder guys. What we're seeing, listeners, is welders under the water in very scary circumstances.
Yes. And this guy,
Mm,
okay, look at this. Look at this. This guy could get wrecked. Look at
yeah.
this. Look at
Lots
this.
of chains and whipping around. It's very scary.
Oh my gosh.
Oh
I mean,
man.
I do wonder like what's like like in the 80s, 90s, they had the 120 days since an accident, like up in a
Yeah.
factory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I wonder what their
Every day is an accident.
for
Look
real.
at this one.
Oh, look at that.
See
Oh
how the
yeah,
guy is just in the wave?
man.
But they're just so it's just like it's just they're so used to it. Like
They're
it's
so
their
used
like,
to it.
you know.
Oh
Thousand
my,
bucks a
oh
day.
my gosh. Now I'm
Yeah.
there. I can't stop.
Yeah.
Well, we've lost
All
Melissa.
right. Well, we lost Melissa.
Yeah.
Let's get to our songs. Let's get to our songs.
That was such a good question. Oh, I could do that question every month.
All right.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's so funny. Mine changes, but
Seriously.
right now it's that. Yeah, it's anything. How's it made videos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Video chips.
All right. Let's start with you, Lee. What do
Okay,
you got
song.
for us, music wise?
How many songs am I supposed to say? Two, three?
1 to 3.
You can say 1 to 3.
One,
We
two,
decided that we
three.
were gonna lower our
Okay.
demand.
Love it. Love it. Okay, right now I'm loving this song called Mama Said.
Oh, I'm
And
obsessed.
it's very like it's like really twangy. It's got like this country like steel guitar in it at the beginning, but it's
So
like
good.
it's a little bit more like Suki Waterhouse singing. So that's
Ooh,
like it's like it's
Yeah.
a cool mix.
big
So
big Suki
Mama
fan
Said
over
by
here.
Big
Cat.
Suki
I
fan.
know
I'm a
everyone
big
loves
Suki
Suki.
fan.
We all love Suki. That song I'm loving right now.
So good.
Candle by Buck Meek. I love that one.
Wait, Mama said. Who sings Mama said?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Cat Clyde, spelled with a
Cat
C.
Clyde. All right.
CATCLYDE.
Okay.
And I don't my third one. I'm gonna say Till the Moon Don't Shine by Tobacco City.
All right.
Oh gosh, yes. I
Those
don't
are
know
my
that
three.
one, but I'm
All
excited.
very westerny, and I
All
just
right.
don't know. I'm in a mood. I'm in a mood.
Yep. All right.
And we're in the bluegrass frame of mind because of Leigh.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do Motel 6,
Oh,
the song Motel 6.
by River.
River, yeah, by River Wild.
Ooh, it's a good
Mhm.
one.
Oh yeah. I freaking love that song so much. I cannot stop. I would have said Mama Said, but Lee stole it from me. That one is so
Still.
good. So good. And then I want to do Please Don't Be by Hazlet. Hazlett. That's I'm gonna do those. I'm gonna just do those.
Okay. I'm gonna
I could do
do.
High by Steven Sanchez because I listen to it every day 5,000 times too.
All right, so we're gonna do that one too.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Steven is all about it. I cannot handle that right now.
Well, if we're doing Western country, I'm gonna do Joshua Headley, Weird
Mhm.
Thought Thinker. That's a really good one.
Yeah. That's a
I
good
Weird
one.
thought thinker.
And then because we were talking about Lionel Richie, I'm gonna do Easy because that's a classic,
Oh gosh, I love it.
and that'll be good on the pod or on the mix.
Yeah, that'll be good on the mix.
Um, oh, I wanted to do a Smashing Pumpkins song because I really like the Smashing Pumpkins on the mix, and I was trying to debate which one because I really like the song Mayonnaise, but Tonight is like Tonight is such an epic one that, and I really like it. So let's do Tonight.
Okay.
Oh
I
man.
love it. Those are great.
Very cool.
Well, this has been something
Mm-hmm.
that I'm done with.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of
Wow.
mayonnaise, I think I'm gonna go eat some mayonnaise, which would be funner than this podcast.
I'd rather eat a tub of mayonnaise than talk to you two for one more minute.
Mhm. All right.
Um,
I'm out of here.
yeah, Lee's already done. She's already texted me privately. She was like, "How
Over.
long did this thing go on?"
Redact
Yeah.
all of this, please. Thank you.
Lee found really mean gifts to send me. So I feel like we need to end it now before
It's
Oh, yeah,
coming.
it's coming.
a brave man,
Oh my God.
but so timid in life.
And so
Lee's face when you started was like, shoot me.
Oh my goodness. All right, I'm gonna end this before.
Okay, cats. Okay, cats. Lee, tea with Lee. Coming up next segment will be her subject, even if it's
hey, when do I get paid for this?
Uh, can we pay you in mayonnaise?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
the
All right,
old
we're done.
DGM sliding
Oh,
in.
DGM.
We're done. This is going downhill quick. We're
Yeah.
done.